YouTube, Sam here. Well, right here used to be this right here, and it's working okay, but I actually need it for one of my renters to do some stuff. And what we're going to do is replace it with that right there. It's a Samsung. So we'll go take that out of the box and check a bunch of stuff on top. You're going to pull all that out. And then, to get this out of here, we're actually going to tip it over. Side here. And the box actually says to do this, so that's what we're doing. And then pull this off. Then the next step is removing what was already there. And if you don't have it, you have to have that. And at least according to the code around here, that's got to be on its own circuit, which that one is. This has had a couple different microwaves hooked up already up in here, but should you not have that, you will need that put up into the cabinet according to code. So that's up to you to figure that. On one side you got English, on the other side you don't. Find whatever side you need. And it says right here that the template goes against the wall this direction. Now you're supposed to put it up underneath here and tape it up and draw according to what you need. There's a couple of reasons why I'm not going to do that. And all I need is a hole. And luckily, unlike the last hole I had to drill for my last one, this one is in the right place. I really wish, like the last one, these companies would get it together and realize you don't want to drill a hole right in the middle of your cabinet, having a cord go up through where it gets totally in your way of putting anything up here. My last one, it was clear back up against the wall, and you could put the cord back against the wall back here and plug it in. That was really nice, and for some reason the two newer ones put it right in the middle of your stinking cabinet. Go figure. Anyhow, the other reason why I'm not doing this is that if I was doing this, I would poke a hole right through here, kind of figure out the measurements, because the inside of your cabinet is going to be smaller than the outside. And then I would actually put that up in my cabinet where it needs to be. And you got, like I said, you got to figure out how much you need to cut off of each side, because your cabinet stops here on the inside, and you got a little bit more if you were to use it on the bottom, and then tape it all up there, and then try and mark everything and drill everything, cut everything. It's a real pain. So I would use it on top, figure out where I would have poked that hole right there, and I would have made my mark up there and drilled it accordingly. Now, the two holes here and here, and I haven't measured yet, but I believe those should work as well. I got to do some measuring and make sure. But there you would have, let's see, we got to get it the right way here. Let's see, right here and over on this side right here. That's the holes for those. Like I said, I need to make sure this all lines up, but I don't think I'll be needing this. In your case, you obviously will, unless you're lucky like me and everything seems to be lining up. And then this big piece here, I'm just using the fan because I don't have any ducting work going up and through my ceiling to duct it out. So I'm just using the fan, which with my old one was set up that way. This one I'm going to have to actually set up to work the way I want it to work, because it comes hooked up, I guess, according to the instructions, what I've read so far. For the fan to be ducted out, but it'll work either way. I believe pretty much any of them these days will too. So now we'll go to the next step. If yours wasn't working out the way mine was, or if you are putting one up for the first time, you would take this template now. This is a different template than what I had for the top up here. Put that up there, tape it up, put chewing gum on the back of it, whatever you have to do. Get it in the right spot, and you know, it's pretty simple. A, B, C. Drill your holes. Make sure you have a stud though. You do need at least one stud, as it says, and I would highly recommend that you do have at least one stud that you can directly screw into. And then, you know, this is actually what drills the holes for this piece here. Now the sizes and the whatever is also going to be up to you and what you're using. Like I said, because I couldn't hit studs before with the first one, and I couldn't hit studs with the second one either. My studs are just that little bit further over the way my house is. This is a really old house, so not everything's perfect. Anyways, I'm going to have to go get some toggle bolts and toggle that up, and then I'm going to use this hole right here to screw into a stud that you need to have, which pretty much if you have fairly new cupboards you should be okay. In fact, in the outside apartment out there, mother-in-law home actually I'll call it, it's got older cabinets, and actually it's got the exact same measurements. So you need at least 30 here, and I believe it said 16.5 here. And what I did, I actually came along, let's see if you can see that, yeah. I actually measured from here down 16.5 in 3 places, so I know that the bottom of this rail, when I go to put it on, needs to line up right around there. If I set it right on here, I don't know if this is cut perfect. I don't know. I don't think it, well, obviously it needs to come up a little bit. All that jazz. These right here, and I really like these because they're metal first of all, and they will hold up a whole lot of weight, and they have a whole lot of space behind that wall where it goes in and pulls out. That is why these are such big holes here, because you have to shove a pretty big toggle through there. Now I'm not going to shove that one in there because they actually fit. They're the same size as the ones that came with there, so I'm going to go ahead and just use this part of it on there. And I got the toggles. Make sure this is on the bottom where the lips are. That kind of, that's where the microwave is going to drop into. Now when I put these in, I have quite a bit of adjustability, but like I said, these just go in, they fold closed, and then they snap, as you heard, snap shut. Now I have enough room, I can lift this up to where my line is over here. And these are kind of, one thing about these, you just kind of got to get them to come out a little ways and hold on to it. You got to hold pressure against them to get them to actually tighten up. Now, this wouldn't be quite as hard, I could just go like that, but they actually have little keepers on the back of these screws here, so just hold that out, don't crush your fingers. I screwed that one, like I said, into this one here. There shouldn't be any problem. There wasn't with the last one, and I did the same thing. If you can, you want it right there, but I think you're splitting hairs there, and really I've looked on the back of the microwave and I can't see any reason why you couldn't use pretty much any one of these holes to mount things. So I mean, if you're really having problems and you can't find a stud anywhere between these, you need to find a different wall to put it on, first of all. Second of all, I probably would say you could probably use any one of these holes somewhere along here, especially down on the bottom, and you'd probably be fine. So just a little hint there, but yet again, you guys need to figure that stuff out for yourself, because I'm not responsible if this thing falls off. We've got all our holes drilled. Yet again, I lucked out, and all my holes seem to be pretty darn close. One thing about these holes, I would suggest drilling them a little bigger. You know, obviously not so big that the stuff's going to fall through, but big enough to where you have a little wiggle room. I'm hoping these are already big enough, because this is just a hair off as far as the center, but the hole is quite a bit bigger than what I need, so should be good there. Then you've marked and drilled these, and went ahead and put that piece up there. Now the next thing would be either doing your venting, however you're going to do that. With me, yet again, I have no venting here, so instructions, you got the vertical ducted, the outside back horizontal ducted going out the back here, and the one I'm going to do recirculating non-vented ductless, which comes out the front. And obviously the fan's on the bottom, pulls it up, pulls it through some filters, and lets it come out the top here. In an ideal world, I'd rather do either of these two if I could, but I'm not going to drill holes in my roof right now. I'm just going to get this done, and quite honestly, we've had 2 other ones that were this way. And well, I'm going to be honest here. I got this in a box for $100. Supposed to be brand new, supposedly was ordered but never picked up. But it appears to me that somebody's been in here messing with this for a couple reasons. First of all, looking at this, it looks like the blower motor's already been pulled out of here and pulled forward. But I'm going to show you anyway, just to make sure that everything's not there. And later on I'll show you what the second reason behind why I think it's been messed with a little bit. So hopefully this works. If not, I know I can bring it back. I'm not too worried about it. But we'll start out here. Back here and right here, there's a screw that we need to pull off. Alright, and put those to the side. Then we should be able to pull this plate up and off. I don't know. Well, I thought you should be able to pull it off, but it appears you just kind of bend it up. It doesn't come completely off. It just looked like it lifts up in the picture there. Then you're supposed to take this blower motor, and there should be a screw right here holding it down, but there's not. Which is another reason why I'm thinking this has not only been gotten into, but somebody's messed with it. Hopefully they didn't drop a screw down in here and then bring it back. But you're supposed to lift this out or up. There's plenty of wiring according to it, which there is. And then right here and here is the blowers. So it should have been originally, when they brought it in, would have been sitting something like that. Now, for the purposes I want, it needs to sit like it was when I got it. If you need it to blow the reverse way, or out the back, it will sit in here like that, but down in there. I'm not going to mess with it a bunch, because I don't want to mess up wires. I'm going to look down in here and make sure I don't see any screw, but unfortunately there's no screw. Yet again, one of my biggest pet peeves in everything I buy. For some reason there's always screws missing, even when it's brand new, because the last guy couldn't bother to put it back in. Because of that, I think I may plug this thing in and check and make sure it works before I worry about going any further with it, because I don't want to install this thing and wind up with it not working. I don't know what's going on, but I figured out why this was back in the box. I went to get it up there because everything was working fine, so then I got it all up in there. I went to put these in, and neither side will these go in. Not even remotely wanting to go in without, and they'll go a little ways and then just stop and completely stop. And I tried very hard to get them in there and strip this one out. Also ended up stripping this out, which I'm sure this was already stripped. So what I did, I went and found what I thought was the right size tap. Tap this out. Now, huge caveat on this now, because most of the time I would definitely take this back. Now this is the only one they had in that box. They had a couple more, but they weren't the color we want. They were both black, and my wife definitely does not want black. She didn't really want stainless, but we decided when we redo everything we're probably going to go to stainless anyway, and so we went with stainless. But this was $100, normally $200. Now I doubt if I take this back they're going to give me a newer version of this, because this was like I don't know why this was there, other than obviously whoever put it up had problems and brought it back. They threw it in a box. Obviously they didn't get the story of what the problems were, and tried to sell it again for less money. But here's the deal, I doubt they're going to give us a new one. We might be able to call and find out. But I went ahead and I tapped that out. Well, I tried the screw, or tried it again and it's not right. So on the old one I thought, hey, what the heck, and that actually fits in there fine. It goes down in there, it's the right size, no problems whatsoever. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. If I call and they say no, we're not going to give you a new one, but that should work. So I have to figure out what I want to do. Now, like I said, there's the thing on that, I'm not responsible if you try this. There's going to be metal shavings going down in here. There's a lot of electronics down in here, and I'm hoping bad things don't happen. But I know if I plug this in and it dies on me, I haven't had it long enough to where I'm going to worry about taking it back, because it's not my fault that it was screwed up to begin with. But yet again, it's one of those things, try and get a good deal and you'll wind up paying for it in the end with a little bit here, but I don't mind doing a little bit of work to make it work, especially since we got basically $100 off of this thing. Goes out, use old hardware from the old one, and it's all up in here sitting good. I'm happy with it for the most part. Got some water in here because you don't want to do this empty. And I don't know, here's a 30-second thing and start. So we'll see if this thing will warm up some water, or if I see massive sparks and horrible noises. But so far we don't. Gave me some decently warm water. The plate turns like it should. So far I think everything's working the way it should. I think just whoever bought this the last time not only stripped out the screw in the very back trying to switch over the blower so that it comes out the top here, but also I think stripped out those screws trying to get them in to the top at the same time. So yet again, start all screws by hand. I don't care how good you think you are, start them by hand. So there's a lesson in this one. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master none. You all have a good one.